a short advance warning that I'm streaming, right? Usually I set it up at least an hour before, but now I'm in a rush. I'm in a rush because I want to go with my wife out, and we haven't gone out since we had the baby, so it's been more than 3 months, and now I just want to do the stream and then go out, enjoy a nice evening, and come home relaxed to make the YouTube videos for the next day. So anyway, right, just before starting the stream, I got a notice from YouTube. It's usually a bad thing when you get a notice from YouTube. Like, it's never good. And apparently they're updating their TOS. And I'm thinking, like, holy shit. They have a compendium of TOS. I am so glad that I actually started YouTubing back when there were almost no terms of service, because if I were to start now, I genuinely would not be able to know what the rules are. Like, you got just so many rules. I think it's actually easier to study for a driving exam. I'm not even kidding. There's less information if you study for a driving exam than if you study on how to be a YouTube content creator and try to make sure you don't break any of the rules. They're so vague as well. But anyway, right? Styx. We're going to be before we talk about Styx, hold on. I need to tell you what the rules are. Like, why did I bring it up if I don't tell you? Apparently they're demonetizing Russia. Yes, like YouTube is demonetizing through AdSense the entirety of Russia. And this came as a surprise for me because I thought it's already demonetized. Like, they already had a guideline where you're not allowed to support the war or to be pro-Russian. Now, that was in place since the war started, but now apparently they're demonetizing Russia. Hi V, hope all is well. It is, because I'm not from Russia. Now let's see how this unfolds in the latest chapter of Styx the Clankening. Dude. Let's stop using the clankening, because it now has two interpretations. Like the dude content, but yeah, that video doesn't help him if it is used against him. I will actually discuss what I've heard behind the scenes. I don't know how much is true or not, but it's gossip, so take it like that. Yeah, I think the problem with Russia is that even if YouTube wanted to pay Russians, I don't know if they can because of the sanctions. So maybe that's why. Because like they've allowed AdSense to go through for so long. And I don't even know if there's that many Russian creators left on the platform. Although, to be fair, you know, since you don't watch them, you don't really get the algorithm suggesting them to you. So there may be actually a lot of Russian content creators that I don't know. But I actually feel bad for a couple of them, right? Like, when you look at the individual people, like, I used to know one. He was a VTuber in this, but it was, like, not an anime aesthetic. It was kind of like, what do you call it? Stalker aesthetic, right? Like Stalker the video game. So he had, like, this bar, and he looked as if he is a guy with a gas mask. And he was just talking about video games and stuff. And he wasn't for the war. He wasn't agreeing with the war. But the situation was making it impossible for him to keep streaming. And I generally feel bad for him. You know, like, he was building up a really nice channel. And he was a nice guy. But what can you do? Does that mean you don't have to use ad block if you view YouTube in Russia? No. I think they still get ads. Or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, right? Because, like, if you're a company and you're selling, like, Russian products, you can't do it if you're based in Russia, right? So, like, usually, like, these ads are targeted based on geographical position, right? So, like, I'm getting Romanian ads, a British person is getting British ads, so on and so forth, right? Which means that if you're in Russia, you're supposed to get Russian ads, but, like, no Russian company is allowed to use AdSense. Or can they? Because it's, like, a different thing. It's, like there is the AdSense, which is if you're a content creator and you sign up for it and you get paid by YouTube. But then there's another AdSense where if you're a company, you put ads on the platform. So I don't know. No, I think like Russians get to see ads. Yeah, I think they can. And I don't know if you're like a Russian company and you want to advertise on YouTube if you're allowed or not. I think you maybe, but like I don't know how you would pay YouTube because again the sanctions make it very difficult to do trade now. There are ways, like you usually go and switch through crypto, and from crypto you switch to other thing, or you just switch money into some other currency like the one. Like there are ways that they're doing it, but yeah, I generally don't know. From what I heard, they don't have AdSense there, so no ads. Yeah, probably. Oh, Russians told you that they don't? Okay, it makes sense then. Do they have their own YouTube though? Because I think like they have their own version of YouTube. So like the American YouTube isn't that popular in Russia. I mean, all of this is just going to isolate the country further, right? Like they're going to look towards China rather than the West. So I mean, they are kind of neighbors. They do have some grievances, some territorial grievances, but yeah. Now let's talk about Styx after reading the super chat from the Dashing Rogue. The jailbird has a history of cuckooing multiple birds. He left Dutch Galadriel for evil Arwen. Never trust demonic birds. Yeah, so there's a lot of hidden meaning in that super chat. From what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if this is true or not. People who follow Styx's occult videos, like he made a deal with a owl demon. Is that like a thing, or is it like people gossiping on the internet? It's kind of hard to tell like how much is LARPing versus how much is truth. Like I will tell you what I think about Styx's Satanism, right? Because a lot of people are like, well, he's a Satanist, so of course he will be a bad person. When we grew up, our generation, there were a lot of mortal busybodies just like today, and they were freaking out over trivial shit. They were freaking out over Dungeons and Dragons a lot, and they were freaking out over music a lot. Like back then, music was really popular. Like back then, you could say you're a metalhead, right? Because you're listening to music. And this is due to the fact that back then we didn't have a computer, we didn't have smartphones. So people would actually sit in their room, like I want you to imagine this, right? This is my generation. This is what we went through. You would go into your room, and you would just put music on, and you would sit in a chair and just listen to music. That's it. That was entertainment, right? Just like for hours. Can you imagine doing that? It's like people doing that shit, right? Like you're going into your room. There's no TV. There's no computer. There's no smartphone. There's no one else. It's just you, and you're just taking your music player, which could have been like a recorder or a cassettophone, we called it, and you just listen to music. That's it, right? Now, based on the type of music you listen, chances are you are falling into a different clique. So, like, the people who listen to rap had their own clique, the people who listen to rock music, their own. But the main problem was that some individuals that would hear someone else listening to heavy metal, they believed it's satanic, right? So like they believe the music is satanic, and probably because of the bands. Like if you look at the Kiss band, hold on, let me see if I can pull on. Like Kiss is not even heavy metal, but here we go. Right. So if you're a normie, right, just like some average guy. And you see these people, right? Now, if you're a God-fearing Christian, and you're seeing these individuals, what are the aesthetics telling you? Like what conclusions can you draw if your kid, who is going to, if little Billy, who's supposed to go to Sunday church, is listening to these individuals, right? So I think like the aesthetics was a problem. And a lot of Christians, they said, no, this is the music of the devil. Like, why would a God-fearing person listening to something like this? And the funny thing is, like, if you guys haven't listened to Kiss, because, again, I need to understand that there may be people that didn't grow up with these bands. They're so fucking tame. They are so tame, Chad. Like, their music is so tame. But this is the choreography, right? So the people listening to them would be bewildered that everyone is telling them, no, this music is evil, this music is going to make you into a killer, this music is going to damn your soul to hell, right? And it feels so disconnected that you're like, who the fuck are these people? Oh, you think I'm a Satanist? Fine, you know what? Fuck it, I am. So it was more like a LARP. It wasn't even necessarily like a Reddit type of atheist thing. It was like, oh, you keep saying I'm a misogynist because Mario saves the princess. Fine, I'm a misogynist. It was that type of vibe, mostly. And a lot of people were actually using it as a counterculture, right? Like, same with Dungeons and Dragons. Like, you're playing pretend. Oh, I'm firing Fireball. And then you see the parent coming into the room being mortified. Oh my goodness, my child thinks he is a warlock casting magic, summoning demons. Oh no, I need to take him to church. God help my son, you know? So, most of it was also due to the bad parenting. Like, most of America's problems are due to bad parenting, honestly. Because the thing was, like, a lot of parents would notice that their kids were playing too much Dungeons and Dragons. Like, they were addicted to it. Again, there were no computers, there was no smartphone, there was nothing else. So, like, they would play Dungeons and Dragons for hours. And the parents were horrified. It's like, when is he going to do the homework? When is he actually going to do the chores around the house? And blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, like, they were playing Dungeons and Dragons because the parents were either too controlling and that was an escapist mechanism, or they were getting bullied at school and again, like, that was an escapist mechanism and shit. So, you know, Styx being from my generation, I think this is more of the Satanism that, or the occult that he is into, right? It's not the Reddit tier occult. The Reddit tier occult is quite different. The Reddit tier is basically people who hate Christianity because they hate the West, right? Like, they went to university and their gender studies professor told them about the systemic racism of racismus, systemicismus, and all of that shit, and how America is evil, blah, 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 and how Christianity is at the center of it, and we need to dismantle Christianity, and you have the fedora tipping atheist. I think that's the Reddit type tier, which comes after this generation. And the Reddit type tier isn't like against the like just what's in the Bible. No, like, they're against everything that Christianity teaches, right? Like, meanwhile, like, these people that were like, oh, we're saying this, they didn't really care about it. Like, they didn't try to dismantle the church, or it's like, oh, if you're believing in Christ, that's good, you know, good for you. But the Reddit type theory, oh, you believe in Christ? Oh, you are you one of those people? What is wrong with you? No, you need to stop because you're hurting others. You're hurting minorities and blah, blah, blah. So this is my take on Styx and his attraction to the occult. Bird from Hell of a Boss Solus is who he sold his soul to. The bisexual bird who cheated on his wife with an imp. I don't watch Hell of a Boss. I did watch the other one, Husband Hotel. I did watch Husband Hotel. And I gotta say, they unfortunately, and I'm saying unfortunately because it shouldn't have happened, they did capture the magic of Disney. The songs are really good. I was hoping that Disney would actually be able to keep producing the wholesome culture that they were known for, but, you know, Disney is stagnating. Apparently their war with DeSantis is more important than making entertainment. So, you now have independent creators that are making, cartoons on the internet that are Disney level when it comes to singing. Yeah, the songs are really good. Like, I have shown the songs to people that don't even speak English, and they're like, yeah, no, the animation is good, the songs are solid, it's quality, you know? You may not agree with the themes and other, but, like, even the themes aren't that fucking bad. It's like, okay, they have the theme of friendship, which is there. They have, like, the underdog that's having its hero journey thing. It is woke, but it's like one of the few woke productions that I can say, yeah, no, I can see why people like this. I can see why it's selling. Meanwhile, Disney is also woke, and I can also see why it's not selling. I can also see why people are disturbed by it. No, seriously, like think about it this way, right? If you're forced to allow your kid to watch either Has-Been Hotel or a new Disney production, well, you're forced, you got it, right? Like, he goes to school, and at school he's going to watch either Disney or Has-Been Hotel. You get to choose what? Like, I'm sorry, but I think, like, Has-Been Hotel is less harmful. Like, I would prefer neither, but, like... Anyway, yeah, the thing with the Solus, is that like an actual demon? Is it, Like if you're studying the occult, because I've never studied the occult myself. I do know like a little bit, or I was actually interested in seeing the lore, I guess, from other cultures. Like I know a little bit about voodoo, I know about Papa Legba, and I know a little bit about the Loas. I know Greek mythology. And I do know like some lore from Christianity regarding heaven. So I know like the ranks of angels, the Cerberus, the Cerberus. How do you pronounce it in English? I know it in Romanian. The deal with archangels and angels, like I'm a little bit more familiar with that. But if you're talking about like demons, demonology, the occult, I don't know that much. In fact, I don't know almost anything. Besides like the superficial level where you have I suppose like angels made the decision to betray God and they fallen, and now demons are fallen angels that want to pervert humanity and interfere with God's plan. That's what I know. Stolas is a Duke of Hell. Oh, it is a real demon. Okay. Yeah, I do know a little bit about voodoo on a superficial level. It's kind of interesting. It is a little bit connected to Christianity in the way that summoning demons work, right? So, like the idea of you're summoning a demon in order to make a pact, right? So, you have the same in voodoo, but the demon isn't really like a demon is an intelligent creature allegedly that can communicate and has its own desires and wills. But a Loa is like a manifestation. It's more like Warhammer 40k, right? Where you have like a chaos god and they're like a manifestation of a certain aspect of humanity. And a Loa can be like a manifestation of death or a manifestation of war. It's actually kind of funny. The way you have to summon them is to make offerings, usually like rum and cigarettes and stuff. And it has to be the correct offering or they feel offended. And if they feel offended, they can actually attack you. And every time you summon someone, you have to start summoning Papa Legba. Papa Legba is the one who guards the crossroads between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. So you basically have to first summon Papa Legba, appease him, and then he will grant you access to the other Loas. And it's interesting because if you look at the history of it, a lot of, I think it was like Haitians that had it. They would use Catholicism as a way to disguise their religion. So basically they would use saints instead of Loas. So they would be talking about Saint Peter, but they would talk about Papa Legba, if that makes any sense. Right? It's interesting. How do I know all of this? It's interesting to know. Like, I actually had a fascination about I think like I started... Okay, so I started with Greek mythology, and I was like fascinated to see what people believed at the time. Like, I don't believe in any of this, but it's interesting to see that at one point in time, people actually genuinely and unironically believed in this shit, right? So I started with Greek mythology, and then I think I moved over to Egyptian. And after I finished with the Egyptian mythology, I went to Norse. And after Norse, I started with Christianity, and then I went a little bit into Islam. And after that, I did a little bit of looking into voodoo and a bit of Wiccanism, I guess. Now, I don't believe that these are real, right? Like, I think all of them are made up. But it's interesting to see the similarities between them, what people believed, and the type of things that the followers of these religions. Because, like, what I did notice is that when you have a religion which is, how should I say, very aggressive, you have people that actually manage to make empires. So, for instance, the Norse religion, right? You have a religion where they believe that if you die from old age, and if you die in your bed, then that's actually going to send your soul to a type of hell. But if you die in battle, then you go to heaven. So, obviously, the Norse were incredibly skillful in battle. Like, that motivation alone was enough to give them a lot of conquest. The Aztec Empire, the same. They believe that the god, the sun god, is fighting against the eternal night, and in order for the sun god to win, he needs sacrifices, and you can only give him sacrifices from the tribes you defeated. So, like, if there was ever a time of peace, then you would get the end of the world. So the Aztecs always needed to make some war with someone, right? Which is why they became an empire. So basically, the type of religions that were more fucked up, they managed to create empires. And the people that were part of those religions were very skilled in combat. That is like one passage that I read from a book of an officer from the British Empire, and he was tasked with fighting against some tribes in Africa. And what they noticed was like two things. Like, number one, you have to treat them like cavalry. Like, this is what he is saying. You gotta treat them as cavalry because they charge really fast, even though they're not on a horse and they're just on their own feet. They charge at you with spears, so you need to have the same formation as if they're cavalry. So like, that was interesting. The second thing that he noticed is that, and this is like an officer that fought on different fronts. Like, he fought in Europe. I think he also fought in the Middle East. But what surprised him about Africa is that in most places, usually a battle would be won by the other side losing morale and fleeing. Like people rarely fight to the last man. In fact, it never happens unless there's like specific circumstances, like you encircle them and they have nowhere to run, or they're sure that their captors are going to torture them. Like, it's very rare that you find a situation in history where people fight to the last man. But in Africa, like, he actually noticed that every single time he was fighting against his opponents, they would fight to the last man, and it just mind-fucked him. It's like, what is happening? So they managed to catch this guy, and they're interrogating him, and they're asking, like, well, why do you fight to the last man? And he's like, because we're invincible. And he's like, we won, like, just several battles against you. What do you mean? Well, no, the shaman, the witch doctor, gives us this war paint, and if we believe, then we're invincible. And, you know, like, this mind fucks the officer and goes like, well, hold on a little bit. This guy is wearing war paint and he's fucking dead. Yeah, but he didn't believe. And it's like, but I guess. You know, it's like, how do you debunk that, you know? Like, what can you say against something like that? So this is what I'm saying. Like, spirituality and religion is really impactful on what people believe and how they act, and you notice how it forms the country, and yeah, it's why I decided to read it. Just like orcs in 40K. You know, that's not like a negative comparison when you think that with orcs, it's like, okay, they believe that if something is painted in red, it goes faster, and if something is painted in yellow, it explodes harder. Yeah, kind of like that. Though they didn't have the Gestalt field. I don't know if it was the Zulu or if it was like some other tribe. There are other things in Africa besides the Zulu, so. You can't prove him wrong, so he must... I mean, he was alive, right? Like, everyone else died, he was alive, so he was probably a very firm believer, yeah. Like, you can't... you can't negate that. And if you prove him wrong, you can't get the satisfaction of being like, I told you so. It's because it's like... The only way to prove him wrong is if he's dead. And if he's dead, you can't say, I told you so. So it's like... Oh, God. I lived in Africa for 10 years, wild times. Purple makes me invisible. Yeah, because no one saw purple work. I mean, it checks out. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Styx. So, well, actually, we weren't talking about Styx. We were talking about the occult as Satanism, because a lot of people don't like Styx because he's into the occult, and it's the number 666. Must be a bad person. How to succeed at overcoming depression. Okay, so basically what I heard behind the scenes, right? And this is why I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. And this is probably why the quartering gave him the benefit of the doubt as well. This is just rumor, by the way. Like, I don't have it 100% confirmed. But it actually makes Styx look good, so I can share the rumor. Well, it makes him look good. You'll understand when I say it. Some people who only watch his channel will notice that he was married with a girl. Like he got engaged, and he was very happy when he got engaged. And then he had a daughter, and he was very happy when he had a daughter, right? So he moved all the way to Norway. And he stayed there for a while. But then he moves back to the United States, and people see him with another woman. And a lot of people are like, well, what the fuck? You know, like, are you a deadbeat dad? What's going on? You know, it's not a good look, basically. But from what I heard, is that the previous lady cheated on him, and the kid may not be his. In which case, I would fully understand. It's just like, okay, he's going back to the United States, 100% understand. And I would also understand why that would cause a man... Like, I don't know if this is the case, but again, like, a lot of people notice his content quality has decreased significantly. And I would understand why something like this would cause a man to lose focus. I don't know if he is drinking again, or if he is doing any type of substance abuse. People are suspecting this due to how he behaved on a stream where he groped a lady. Looked really bad. But again, like in this context, I would understand why his content is dropping significantly. I don't know, like maybe he's groping that lady in order to make the previous woman. I have no fucking idea. But this is why a lot of content creators are like giving him a chance, and they're like, all right, you haven't been found guilty of anything. Let's see where it goes, you know. And this is why the quartering is basically paying for his bail. And he's like, you know, he is my friend. I don't think he's that type of person. I am willing to give him a chance. Now, if it happens, and this is what most content creators are saying, if it happens that he is actually a piece of shit and he actually went ballistic on a lady, everyone is going to distance themselves from him. There's no question about that. But right now, people are, all right, well, let's see where this goes. Let's see if he's actually... Most people don't even know what happened. And he can't talk about what happened because if it's a current investigation, this is what every single lawyer would tell you, right? Do not talk about it until the case is over. So it's very difficult for him to clear up his image since he can't bring it up. He tweeted vaguely and incoherently about something. Yeah, again, this is rumor like what I'm saying. But if it happens to be true, I could understand why he is like that. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to find out that you're living with a woman and your kid isn't yours. Like, that would be... ugh. Netherlands, not Norway. What's the difference? See what I did there? Look, I'm a European. To me, all Nordic people look the same. Except for Sweden. Sweden is... Captain Sweden, yes. What I find interesting is that he's being looked bad for a few months. His friends don't do nothing, and then act surprised when he ends up in prison. Well, like, what can you do, you know? There's a difference between real friends. And, I can't really call them online friends, but, friends over long distance. Like, what can you do? If Styx was in Romania, and I was his friend, I would be like, hey, let's go out drinking. Let's go to the pub. Let's just hang around and chill, talk about things. And it's different. Like, you can actually help a person if you're in the same town with them. But if it's over the internet, I mean, I guess maybe you can play some video games with them and just have a conversation over a video game. But are they going to take you seriously? Are they going to actually listen to your advice? Are they... I don't know. I know Ash deserves it. He keeps putting Dev on. In the comment section of Wife, he claimed the child is in fact his. in the first video she made after he fled the Netherlands. Well, if that's the case, then again, what I did say is rumors that I heard, right? So I don't know. But if she cheated on him, then it's still justifiable. Regardless if the child is his or not. It's like one of the only times where I can understand why a person would leave another, even if there's kids involved. You don't cheat. Simple. You made a vow. Don't cheat. Online friends are different than real life friends. I mean, I get it, but like, here's the thing, right? If I travel to Netherlands and I meet Arch, like, he would hang out with me, like, we would go out and we would have a beer, we would play some board games, right? It's like, what? So what is the difference between a real life friend and an online friend? I guess, like, the only difference is distance, right? So you can have, like, a real life friend, and if he travels to another country or another city, you're in the same situation as just, like, meeting someone online for the first time. Word around the campfire says he threw his wife down the stairs and chased her with a sword. Then he got bed up and smacked and fled with Stolas to US. Yeah, I don't think that. Again, the thing with Styx, and this is what I told people from my private circles. While it is surprising to find out he is in prison, it is a little bit more... while it is surprising to find out that he went to jail, it is actually more surprising to find out why he went to jail. And it's not as surprising as the why, but like how. Look at him. Look at him. He is skin and bones. Like how can he accomplish this? Now, if the news was that a woman beat him up, then I would be like, okay, I believe you. Because it sticks. But if you're telling me that the opposite happened, I'm not saying it can't possibly happen, but like if you're saying he needed a sword, I mean, maybe. Because he wouldn't be able to do it with his own hands. He would get overpowered. I mean, let's talk a little bit about reality. This is not Hollywood or anything, right? Where it Styx we're talking about. I don't think he can, physically. No. You know what I mean, right? What do you mean it's not an argument? I'm looking at the man. I do not think he can, physically. Like it's kind of like having a big boulder and then telling me this man moved it. And I'm looking at it, well, it's a pretty fucking big boulder, and the guy is kind of small. How did he do it? You know, it's like you're wondering in your brain, you're trying to picture it, and it just doesn't fit. Again, I may be wrong. I don't know. Well, people say that he used the sword. If he used the sword, then yeah, sure. I do think if he used the sword, though, it would be probably attempted murder. It wouldn't be battery, right? So you would get a much worse charge. Which he didn't, so... He can because he is very tall. I actually don't know. I don't know how tall he is. People are saying he isn't small, he is scrawny. So he's got like the height advantage. He's over 6 foot. Oh, okay. I've seen people as thin as him lift solid concrete blocks. Well, if you see people as thin as him lift solid concrete blocks, then I withdraw my statement. Maybe you're right and I'm wrong. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I was trying to make a joke. I don't know if you noticed. I was trying to be funny. I was trying to be entertaining. You don't have to take it seriously. You know, I'm an entertainer. I make people laugh. I'm just saying. Yeah, he's got big feet. Yeah, it's range advantage, huh? He got charged with domestic battery. Well, here's the thing about the charge, right? Because I looked into it. So, in that state, domestic battery means that you need to lay hands. It's not just like you're having an argument or you're having a fight. You need to lay hands. I think like if you throw liquid on another person, that may constitute. right? So like if you're annoyed and you throw the coffee, on the other person, or you throw the tea, that may actually be considered, legally speaking, as if you're laying hands. But the main problem that I have is with the $7,000 bail. I mean, we're talking about a first-time offender. $7,000 is a little bit high. Now, it's possible that they looked at the fact that he's a YouTuber and maybe he's making a lot of money, but I don't know. Like, people are saying he's not making a lot of money. He doesn't have AdSense turned on. So, yeah, he's got like 500,000 subs, but like, he's not having AdSense turned on, so I don't know. The bail is a little bit weird. Because I would expect like a little bit lower, which makes me assume that the police, when they saw that, they may have thought that it's more serious than it is. Now here's the interesting part, right? I did talk with some police officers, and they did say that there have been cases where, like, for instance, the guy is the one that's assaulted. So, like, the woman tries to assault the guy, or she gets in his face, and he just, like, tries to move her out of the way, or he tries to get a hold of her in order to get her to stop. And then she has some bruises, or she can claim that she was attacked, and usually the police officer side with the woman. So this is what the quartering is saying. Like, he's not convinced. Like, he saw a lot of cases with other men that were wrongfully prosecuted, and then they were found innocent at the trial. So they're basically saying, well, yeah, but, like, doesn't innocent until proven guilty exist? So this is why he decided to bail him out. Wizards don't have unarmed combat proficiency V. I don't think he's a wizard. I think he's a warlock. This whole story is weird. I don't even know the story. Like, all we know is that he is being accused of something, but we don't even know what happened. So we can only speculate. Now, obviously, I do like Styx, and I hope he didn't get himself caught up into some nasty shit. And if he did, he's going to have to face justice, because, just getting bailed out doesn't mean that he's not going to have to face his case. Like, he's going to go to court. The punishment depends on what he did. May or may not be that big. I think, like, the minimum is 10 days in jail and a fine. But the punishment for his reputation would be tarnished, right? Like, that would be the worst thing. Like, if the local media writes an article about him, oof. If he actually did something bad, then people like the quartering will not associate with him. People that would collab would refuse to. Which, I don't know, like, he doesn't usually do that many streams and collabs, so probably wouldn't be that bad for him, but there would definitely be people that won't listen to him anymore. Like, it's difficult to listen to a channel when you know that a guy did something like this, so... Yeah, like, I think, like, the damage to his reputation would be worse than whatever he gets as a sentence, especially since it's a first-time offender, and if he didn't actually ended up, hospitalizing the other person, or running with the sword after her, like people are suggesting, or whatever, then the punishment may be light. It may be just a couple of days and a fine. He probably already served a couple of those days, so yeah. He does still have to go to trial, and they'll have the evidence there if there is any. Yeah, this is my point, right? Now, will the trial be live streamed? That's the question. Will Riccietta cover the live stream of the trial? That's another question. Will Riccietta demand that the trial be live streamed, chat? What do you think will Nick do? Chat, what will Nick do about it? Will he demand that Styx's trial be televised? Styx will not do well in jail. Jail is actually fine because they don't really check your paperwork. Now it's fine in the sense of it's not as bad as prison for a person that would be in Styx's position. Like, let's look. He's a white dude, right? Which already is bad in New Orleans. He's not very intimidating looking. In fact, he looks like a hipster. He's a famous YouTuber, and I'll tell you why that matters in a bit. And the paperwork. Like anything that has to do with violence towards women, children, elderly, disabled, you're gonna get your wig split. Like it's the other prisoners, they're not investigators, right? They don't really care about your excuses or anything you did. You have that on your paperwork, you're fucked. Or if you're a snitch, right? So, yeah, and I understand like New Orleans has like one of the worst prisons in the U.S. So again, yeah, like now he went to jail. Jail is not like that, right? They don't check your paperwork. They don't really care. There's a lot of people coming and going. They're not really, and the ones that are staying, they're probably for misdemeanors and they don't want to catch another charge. But if you go to prison, like if you actually go to trial and you're guilty and they actually give you a prison sentence, yeah, that would be really bad for Styx. That would be awful. Um. Am I going to jail? Jesus Christ, no. I've never been. Well, actually, no, I did go to jail when I was in law school. And I did talk with some of the prisoners there. I gave them cigarettes. They were very happy. It's actually funny. I remember talking with a colleague of mine that also went to law school and then med school. And at med school, we were going to in the 6th year, we did pediatrics and we were going to see the kids. And both of us had candy, right? And it's like, hey, remember when we went to prison and we had cigarettes? It's like, yeah. And now we got candy. And then we went to the pediatrics and like, we had balloons and stuff, you know. It's like, oh, you're going to visit sick kids, right? Like, might as well try and cheer them up. They didn't give a shit about our balloons, Chad. Didn't give a shit about our candy. They had candy as well, much more expensive than the one we bought. And they didn't care about the balloons because they had tablets. So, was a disappointment. I don't know. The thing with like never going to jail. A lot of people believe that, and then you get into a car crash. Like there are ways to go to jail even if you're a law-abiding citizen. You know, some shit can happen. This is what mindfucks me. The more you read the press, and I'm glad I'm not in those countries. But like, there was this guy in the UK, and he was like a senior chap. I mean, he was like 40, 45 maybe. I don't know. He was like a type of person that you wouldn't peg as a criminal. And he had a fidget spinner, chat. Like, he was in the street and had a fidget spinner. And the cops arrest him, saying that he's got a shank. Because he's in London, and in London you're not allowed to have fidget spinners that look like a Zelda sword. And the sword was a replica, like it wasn't an actual sword, right? So he gets arrested and gets, I don't know, like how much, like 6 months or so. And I'm thinking, okay, so this guy is someone's father, right? He's got a family. He probably has a job. And now he's going to lose everything. And like, I guarantee to you that when he woke up, the last thing in his mind is that he's going to go to prison. So, yeah, it can happen, you know, it can happen. Usually it's car crashes, because this is what one of the convicts told me when I visited. It was, you know, a lot of people don't care about us because we're the dregs of society and whatnot, and it's true, but there's a lot of people here that didn't think they will ever get here. You know, people that got in a car crash, or people that did something by accident. And now they're a little bit upset because they were very tough on crime. They were very, oh yeah, like prisons have to be the worst ever imaginable. Like, worst thing ever. And now that they're here, they're changing their opinion a little bit. Yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse, another example, right? Like, Kyle Rittenhouse went to jail. So, like, you can have people that are innocent going to jail. It's usually, okay, you're investigated for something. You're going to go to court. But until court, you're going to be locked up. And then you're found not guilty. But, well, are you going to get those days back where you were locked up? No. So, Styx has covered enough of these stories to know that all he has to do is shave. Say he transitioned. Oh my goodness. turning a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. This is actually something we discussed at law school, and it happens quite often, right? Like, you take someone off the street for a petty crime, like the fidget spinner guy, and you lock him up with all the thieves, murderers, and rapists, and when he comes out, he's not finding an easy time getting a job. His family probably abandons him. It's like, what is he going to do? Well, he's probably going to be a criminal because he's not going to starve to death. So... Didn't a female guard did it with a male inmate in the UK? Oh my god, one? Oh, only one? It's so fucking common. It is so common that you have like, and it's not just women guards that do it. There's like male guards that are homosexual that do it as well. But there were cases where a female guard cheated on her husband with an inmate, and then the husband came with the kid to the prison in order to break up with her and divorce her. So your post on Twitter where you ask the Act Man to an invite for a discussion. Yeah, so there's this content creator, the Act Man, as people call him. And he was saying that he wants an honest discussion about wokeness. And I'm like, okay, sure. Huh. Just tell me when. Just tell me when. And I'll, it's like basically, I will show you what my avatar is going to be in that debate. Hold on. Because a picture is worth 1,000 words, right, chat? So... all I gotta do is to set the proper avatar, and I think like people will immediately get where I'm coming from. This is a Western game, and this one is an Asian game. Both of these characters are supposed to represent women. And I don't think I need to add anything more to that. I think we reached a point where everything is self-evident. Right, like if you honestly think that this will sell, right? Like if this one is the money maker, or you actually think that they got Western artists and allowed them to be creative and allowed them to express themselves, and this is the result, right? You need to be mentally insane. Like, if you actually believe that a company hired the best artists that they could find, and they hire people that are into character design and making original stuff, and this is what they came up with, and you think it's going to sell, while this is the competition, right? Like, this is the competition. So you walk into a game store and you just see the box. Well, you don't walk into a game store. You're on Steam, right? And you see the store list. And you have this thumbnail, or you have this thumbnail, and chances are this is probably like $50, right? Like, this is actually cheaper. And this is like 110 or some shit like that. Which one are people more likely to buy? Which one of these two? Huh? Yeah, no, like there are a couple of questions that I would love to ask him if he wants to have the conversation about wokeness. I can ask him, why is it that most Western games, they have female characters that are fully dressed up and desexualized and everything like that, while they're also filled to the brim with LGBT flags and men without shirts, naked men? Huh? Like, I get it. I mean, you know, you like Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate is a very good game, I've heard. You know, it is like one of the woke games that it's actually good. They're really proud of it. It's like if you go after Dragon Age, people go live it. So my question is, why is it that when I start Dragon Age, because it's like, what is woke? And I'll be like, well, I don't know what woke is, but I just find it that when you play a game and you have this jacked up druid, this shirtless, muscular druid on steroids, asking me to go into the woods with him so that he gets to turn into a bear and clap my cheeks without even asking me if I'm gay or not. Yeah, I think that may be what people are referring to as woke. I think things like that, you know, it's like you can't really put a name to it. It's just like, it's that vibe, you know. It's like that. It's got that American vibe. It's that like a fresh Californian mindset. When someone thought, it's like, hey, you know what? We need to write about this character. Yeah, like he would walk up to the player and not even care if the player is in a relationship with someone or not. He will not care if the player is gay or not. We're just going to assume he's just going to go like ham. You know, he's going to go balls deep in that player with... They're just bypassing every innuendo. I'll be like, hey, you know, like, let's go into the forest. I will show you a shape-shifting trick. And then it's like another thing. Later on in the game, you reach the House of Hope. Right, and in the House of Hope, all hope is lost when you encounter the Incubus. And the Incubus is, again, like this Chad guy. Like, I felt intimidated by his presence, Ackman. Felt intimidated by this guy, like this strong jawline, could cut diamonds with it. Muscular man, you know, like I just, like, my masculinity went off the fucking window when I saw it. Dressed in bondage gear. Like, my goodness, I bet his cock was the size of my arm. And you know what this guy does? Starts hitting on me. Starts hitting on me, because you know I got the little peepee and he's the big peepee, right? And he starts hitting on me, and he's like, oh, if you come to bed with me, then I will tell you all the secrets of the House of Hope. Now I'm playing this from like a min-maxing mechanic, you know? Like I'm at this point, the story isn't as captivating as like just finishing the game and focusing on gameplay. So I'm like, well, my party is low on resources, might as well. But you know what? He gives me a choice. He says, if you don't like men, I can be women. And I'm like, oh, he's going to turn into a succubus, isn't he? He's going to grow these massive plump tits. He's going to be seductive. I mean, this is a demon of lust. He knows the shit that I'm into. Going to turn into a demon mommy, but no. He turns into like this woman with small tits and the most masculine face you can imagine. Like the most masculine face you can imagine that apparently a lot of left-leaning people appreciated on Twitter. They were into that shit. They were like, yes, my type of woman. And then he gets on top of me. And I thought that at this point, the game developers would have the basic human decency of fading to black. Like, I get it. They drove their point across. They were like, look, we broke him. We broke our player. Like, our player is now just... But no, they showed everything. They showed everything. Every single frame. And they even hired a voice actor to moan. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. You know what? Maybe this is woke. Maybe this is just a little bit fucking woke. Not a lot, just like a tiny little bit of wokeness. And it's a tiny little bit of wokeness here, and a tiny little bit of wokeness there, and at the end I need a barfing bag. Because what the fuck are the writers thinking? Who are they writing this shit for? Who's buying this? You know, like, the only saving grace of Baldur's Gate is the gameplay and the aesthetics. The environmentals, not the characters. And that's why Baldur's Gate is a good game. It's because, okay, well, the effort was put in that place. But don't fucking bring that trauma to me. I feel as if I was violated by that game. Not once, but twice. That's what I get for min-maxing. Let me see if I have a picture of that manlet. Hold on. So, Dragon Age, Incubus, female. Wait, it's not Dragon Age, it's Baldur's Gate. My bad. Okay, so I found the male character. But I need to see the form where he turns into a woman. Let's see if I can find his feminine features, chat. Because, my God, did the left not like this character. The left absolutely adored this character. Maybe if I can find the name of it, it will be easier. It's a character so ugly. There's no fan art of it. Harlep. Okay, so Harlep, female. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. So, this is the male character, right? And I feel demasculinized in his presence. I feel intimidated. Like, what is this? You know, like, all of a sudden, I felt insecure. And again, like, he's like, if you make like cushy with me, you don't have to fight the minions. You can bypass the quest. And I'm min-maxing. I'm like, well, my party is low on resources. A lot of people to fight. Guess I'll but wait, you don't. It's fine. I can turn into a woman. And I'm like, whoa, phew. Alrighty then, let's do that. Jesus fucking Christ, brother, ew, brother, ew. Fucking turn back at this point. You know what? It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, where is the choice? There is no choice. There is no fucking choice. And the left was like, oh, but you don't understand. He looks like Raphael. And I'm like, no, but you don't understand. Why the fuck do I need to see that? Why do I need to pay money for it? What is wrong with you? Is this your fantasy? Are you into that sick demonic shit? Like, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not judging you. I like you. I generally don't fucking care. But what I don't get is, why are you upset that I don't like it? Why do I have to like it? Just leave me the fuck alone. God. I can't fix her, chat. I cannot fix her. Yes, like, usually, I see like an actual real life demon woman. Let me show you a demon woman from real life. Hold on. Okay, so I'll show you like a real life demon lady. So apparently this chica has been arrested in Germany, trialed and convicted for murdering men. Like she would seduce men, bring them to her house, and then murder them. And I'm looking at her and it's like, you know what? I can fix her. I can turn her into a model citizen. I know how. I think I can. I can't fix this, chat. I can't fix this. I don't think I can. I don't. The grave kid, no. The funny thing is, though, when you look at the I think they may have left this out of the press. I'm not sure. But I think when you look into her biography, she was very racist, chat. She was very racist. She wouldn't date white people. So that German lady wouldn't date German men if they were born in Germany, and they would have like the DNA and ancestry connecting them to German heritage. So there's a little bit more complications to the case than initially it seems. Like, I would also have to fix the racism, SRC Maker, thank you for the 5 memberships. Been watching Actman for a while. I believe he knows what woke means. A lot of times he goes around the subject or very briefly talks about it. I see. Oh, there's a documentary about her? It's still fixable, just wear blackface when you're with her? I see. The internet is simping over a Japanese woman who stabbed her boyfriend to death and was sitting outside his apartment covered in blood. Let me put it this way, right? There is an American thing which baffles the European brain. It's just like we just can't understand it. And I think it's also possible because we do not have the death penalty in Europe. I don't know if there's any countries that do. So like the concept of death penalty is foreign to us. But in America, there is death penalty, right? And a lot of the people that are convicted serial killers, they get a lot of thirsty women after them. Like they actually get love letters and stuff. And it's just bizarre because you're wondering, well, why is it happening? Why? And then you see, because you're like, oh, well, women, what's wrong with them, right? But then you see that a woman serial killer appears and all the men are simping over her. And you're like, okay, so it's not a woman thing, it's a human thing. I don't know why certain people enjoy the opposite sex that does stuff like this. I can't get it. I generally can't. But, well. Thank you, Zenith, for the one membership. I think like the reason they're doing it is because they legitimately think they can fix them. Right? It's kind of like finding a broken person and you're low self-esteem enough. Like you just cannot date an individual that's already perfect, right? Because like you think like they would look down at you or something. So you want to find a person that's like mentally broken so you can fix them. I think this is the mindset, right? Other than that, I can't explain it. Gerald, thank you for the $20. Yandere is popular for reasons. Yeah, I mean, even in fiction. Like, I tried making my female characters in my game as disturbing as humanly possible. Like, I tried to make them as evil as I possibly could. And everyone that read my script was like, wow, V, you wrote such nice female characters. And what the fuck is wrong with you? No! I wrote them to be demonic. Like, literally, I was trying my best in order to create a character that, like, looks beautiful, but is as evil as humanly possible without making them comically book evil. Like, I try writing them as if they're ancient vampires. They have no humanity in them. They have no compassion. They have no empathy. They fake everything. And people are like, wow, such well-written female characters. I'm like, oh, fuck this shit. God. Like, I even wrote, like, there's a scene where one of them, like, keeps a human as a pet for, like, 40 years. Like, she literally locks the guy up in one room and just demands that the guy draws pictures of her. Because she's vain, right? Like she just likes how this artist draws and just wants, like, picture after picture drawn for her every single day or else she kills him. And he has to live like this for all his life. Like, everyone thinks that he is dead. He's got a family. He finds out that one of his members, the family members, passed away, and he can't go to the funeral. Right? Like he's literally a victim. And by the way, she doesn't have sex with him or anything. It's just like, no, she just torments this guy. And at one point, there's even like a part in the story where the guy ages and she remains young because like she's demonic and he isn't. So you know, like it's also like the idea of human life being finite. But at one point, he manages to escape, right? And this girl is absolutely traumatized. Like, this demon is absolutely upset that he ran away from her. And everyone reading the story is like, oh, but look how poor it is. Like, why are you making her feel like that? What is wrong with you? You're not supposed to empathize with her. She's the bad guy. To me, they are disturbing and in the psych ward. Yeah, but like, unfortunately, you're in the minority. At least my reaction was to flee. Yeah, there are like very few people that are like, yeah, okay, these are bad ladies. No, my game is not out yet. But hopefully, I actually, you know what? I'm not going to give dates anymore. I'm not going to give dates because it's not just up to me. Like for instance, all the three main characters are voice acted, but I need the fourth. And I contacted the voice actress lately, and she said she can't deliver the lines earlier than December. So, like, what can I do about that? You know. I don't like the idea wasn't to talk about my story or anything like that. It's just that you notice that like the people that are definitely bad people, it doesn't really affect their dating life at all. Like you would think, oh, if you're a good person, you're going to get dates, or if you're a bad person, you're not. No, it's got nothing to do with your personality if it's good or bad. Like people are attracted into other things, and like for instance, charisma, um, the beauty, right? So like the way your body looks, youth, health, that's what people are attracted to. Like take into account Dexter from the TV show, the serial psychopath, right? The mass murderer. A lot of women like Dexter, and he's not a good guy. Now you can say, oh, he's actually just killing criminals. No, he actually went after like that black police officer that was after him, right? Like the police chief. And the police chief didn't do anything. Like he wasn't the criminal. So like, don't give me the shit that, oh well, he's righteous because he's killing bad people. It's like, no, he's a killer, and he kills good people as well. Being a nice guy is a surefire way to fail? Not necessarily. It depends. Like, if you're a nice guy, but you go to the gym, you work out, and you look good, and you're competent at something, you're going to get women. It's not about, you know, if you're a football player and you're a nice guy. But the thing is, usually people who are actually good at what they do, they become assholes, right? So, like, if you're at the top of the ladder, and you're the best in a profession, you're probably an asshole. And the reason for it is that when you're the underdog, you gotta be nice to everyone because, you know, you're the underdog. So, like, if you go to a McDonald's and you're really bad, like it doesn't really matter where you go, but let's take a McDonald's. Uh, Being at a McDonald's is like a team effort, right? Like, one person does the dough, another person does the fries, another person does the packaging. So it's like a team effort. And if you're really bad at your job, you want to be friendly with everyone so that people tolerate you despite the fact that you're shit, right? But like, let's say that you're really amazing at your job. Like you, when you're in that kitchen, just stuff flies out of the kitchen, everything is perfect. Then you can be an asshole to people, and people have to be nice to you because now you're tolerating their incompetence. And this is literally the same for every single profession. Like, when I went to the McDonald's, I noticed it's exactly the same like in the hospital. It's exactly the same like in the courtroom. It's literally the same everywhere you go. If people aren't good at their job, they have to be nice to others so that others put up with them. Because it's already annoying that you're doing a team effort with someone that's not pulling their weight. But if you're the best, then probably you are annoyed by other people not pulling their weight, and you can be an asshole. And no one can do anything because they're not going to fire you because you're really good. Yeah, the dough. It's you take the, well, actually, hold on. That wasn't at McDonald's. It was at KFC. Yeah, like KFC, because I worked at McDonald's and KFC when I was younger. You take the chicken and you get it through the dough, through the flour. Like, they give you a package which has like some spices, and you mix it up with the flour. And then when you take the chicken, you put it through the flour, and then you put it in the oil, right? So like, there is a guy that just does that. Just goes through the dough. Anyway, right? I think we covered everything. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.